Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that has absolutely completely changed the game for e-commerce. We're talking about the dream of building a real, fully-fledged online brand, but, and here's the kicker, doing it without the terrifying, prohibitive upfront costs of holding massive amounts of inventory. Just picture this for a second. What if you could sell custom t-shirts, coffee mugs, cozy hoodies, or even beautiful wall posters to people all over the world? But here's the best part. You do it without ever buying hundreds of products in advance. You don't have to clear out your garage, and you definitely don't have to navigate a living room literally stacked to the ceiling with cardboard boxes of unsold stuff. You just create and you sell. That's it. This whole concept is made possible by a system called print on demand. The flow is incredibly smooth. So a customer places an order on your online store. Instantly, that order data gets routed directly to a third-party supplier. That supplier then physically produces the item, they print your design right onto a blank product, and then they package it and ship it straight to your customer. You never even touch the physical product. Now, in this explainer, we're going to tackle the big questions. How does this actually work? What's it going to cost you? Where exactly is the profit? How do you even find customers? And honestly, what guarantees success? Quick reality check, though. We are actively avoiding any of those wild claims of easy overnight money here. Building a real business takes real work, so let's get right to it. All right, Section 1, the print-on-demand model and how it completely changes retail. To really grasp why print-on-demand is such a big deal, we have to look at the stark contrast it has with traditional inventory. You see, in the traditional retail world, you basically have to guess what people want. You buy massive quantities up front, you pay to store all those boxes, and you carry the huge financial risk of unsold stock if your guess was, well, wrong. Print on demand literally eliminates that risk. You create the designs, you list digital mock-ups of those products, and the physical item is only printed when a confirmed paid order actually comes through. And hey, this is very different from standard dropshipping, where you're usually just reselling someone else's generic stuff. With print on demand, you're the creator. You're injecting your own unique designs and building your own distinct brand. Moving on to Section 2, how an order actually works, focusing on the life cycle of a sale. Okay, let's walk through the actual mechanical reality of this. First, you create a really unique design and list it on your storefront. Almost immediately, let's say a customer across the globe finds it and buys it for 25 bucks. Boom. Your print-on-demand provider instantly receives that order electronically, prints your design onto a blank tee, packages it up, and ships it straight to their doorstep. And the best part? You keep the profit without ever having to touch the product. It's basically a beautifully automated relay race. You handle the creative and the marketing, and your partner handles the factory floor and the shipping logistics. But the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the money. Let's look at this revenue split. You do not get to keep that entire $25 the customer just paid. Out of that top-line revenue, you have to subtract the cost of the blank product and the actual printing, which goes directly to your supplier, along with any platform fees and shipping costs. Whatever is left over in that green slice of the chart, that is your actual profit. Revenue minus costs equals profit. Truly understanding those margins is the absolute lifeblood of keeping your store sustainable. All right, Section 3, the power of a niche, moving beyond just what to sell. Now that we've got the logistics and the money sorted out, we need to shift from the mechanics of how to sell to the strategy of what to sell. You've got endless options, right? Sweatshirts, tote bags, phone cases, stickers, notebooks, you name it. But what matters way more than the physical item is the audience you're targeting. Look, as a beginner, it is incredibly tempting to try and sell everything to everyone. You want to make a funny shirt, a cute dog mug, maybe a cool landscape poster. But you have got to resist that urge. You need to focus on a niche. And a niche is just a highly focused, specific audience or market segment with shared interests. Because when you try to sell to everyone, your marketing message just gets totally watered down, and you usually end up selling to no one. Think about super passionate communities like fitness fanatics, hardcore gardeners, or dedicated gamers. It is vastly easier to figure out what an obsessed indoor gardening enthusiast wants to buy and exactly where they hang out online than it is to market some generic, plain t-shirt to the entire internet. You really want to cater to their specific inside jokes, their pride, and their shared passions. Next up, Section 4, more than just good design, and how to go about building real demand. We need to shatter a really persistent myth right now. Just uploading random pretty designs is not going to magically create a successful business. The hard truth? Design alone is simply not enough. You have to look at these specific success factors. First and foremost is customer demand. A beautiful design is completely worthless if nobody actually wants to buy it. You also need originality to stand out in a crowded market, instead of just copying whatever happens to be trending today. Your products need to be high quality, relevant to your chosen niche, and presented professionally. Good branding builds trust. You're not just selling a piece of fabric here, you're selling an identity that really resonates with your specific customer. Which brings us to Section 5, choosing a supplier, the actual foundation of your fulfillment. Since you aren't actually printing these items yourself, your choice of printing partner is quite literally the foundation of your entire business. You are trusting this partner with your brand's reputation, so you must evaluate them rigorously across these key areas. Ask yourself, are the blank garments soft and durable? Is the print just going to wash off after 3 cycles in the laundry? How fast are their shipping times? Do they offer the product selection you need at a price that actually leaves you a decent profit margin? What's their customer support like when an order inevitably goes missing? And crucially, do they have geographic fulfillment centers near your target customers to keep that shipping fast and cheap? Oh, and a massive pro tip here, always order physical samples to your own house before you start selling products at scale. You absolutely have to verify the quality with your own hands and eyes. Now for Section 6, avoiding the biggest beginner mistakes. Consider this your reality check. All right, so setting up your store and picking a supplier, that is literally just the starting line. There are common pitfalls that will sink your store before it even leaves the harbor. We already talked about the danger of picking random niches instead of focusing, but other massive mistakes include uploading low-resolution, pixelated artwork or entirely ignoring your product descriptions, which is just terrible if you want to get found on search engines. But perhaps the biggest trap of all is expecting immediate sales just because you hit that publish button. That is just not how this works. Beginners drastically underestimate the marketing required, and they often focus exclusively on creating products while entirely ignoring customer service. Remember, there is absolutely no passive income without a massive amount of active effort up front. And I want to make a really special note on this next point because it gets so many new sellers banned permanently. You must respect intellectual property. Do not copy copyrighted designs or steal existing artwork. Put simply, you cannot just slap a famous movie character, a professional sports team logo, or another artist's hard work onto a coffee mug and sell it. Doing that is illegal, and it's a massive beginner mistake that will get your store shut down overnight. Keep your work original. Let's look ahead to Section 7, the next steps, and what's coming up in Part 2. As we wrap up this foundational look at the whole business model, I want to remind you that understanding how print-on-demand works is really only the very beginning. Honestly, it's the easy part. The actual challenge of e-commerce is discovery. So in Part 2 of this Explainer series, we're going to dive deep into the strategies that actually generate revenue. We'll cover exactly how to research and choose profitable niches. We're going to look at best practices for your store setup, how to leverage social media and search traffic for your marketing, the real math behind pricing and margins, and ultimately how you can scale your print-on-demand operations once you finally find that winning product. But before we get there, I want to leave you with this final, crucial thought to chew on. With the barrier to entry this low, the market is incredibly crowded. So if millions of products are already competing for attention on the internet right now, how can a beginner like you make your one product stand out and actually convince a stranger to hit that buy button? Think about your strategy, and I will see you in Part 2 so we can figure it out together. Let's jump right into this explainer. If you caught Part 1, you already know the mechanics. You know what print-on-demand is and how the fulfillment side runs completely in the background. But today, we're unpacking the ultimate beginner's roadmap to starting a real, sustainable print-on-demand business. We're moving way past those basic mechanics and getting into the actual strategy of building something that's going to last. Let's get to the good stuff. So the big takeaway from last time was that fulfillment is incredibly simple. Connecting an app to a store literally takes 5 minutes. But creating true customer demand, well, that's where the real work actually begins. Look, anyone can slap a graphic on a coffee mug, but getting a total stranger on the internet to open their wallet and buy it, that takes a fundamental shift in how you view this entire business model. To get you from absolute zero to a fully scalable digital storefront, we're going to briskly walk through this pragmatic roadmap in 5 distinct phases. Finding your profitable niche, building products and trust, the math behind the profit, getting customers and testing ideas, and finally, scaling up and facing reality.
All right, Phase 1, finding your profitable niche.
Beginners so often just guess what looks cool, right? But you need to be way more strategic if you don't want to waste weeks of your time. You want to look for existing communities. Dive deep into Reddit forums or Facebook groups. What are your own personal interests? And more importantly, what are the actual problems a specific group of people have? Are they actively searching for solutions or, specific inside jokes? You've got to analyze search demand, gauge the competition, and keep an eye on emerging trends. You're basically looking for an audience that's already hungry, rather than trying to force a totally random audience to want what you just made. And that brings us to the ultimate niche rule. It needs to be specific enough to target, but large enough to actually have potential customers. Think of it like this. If your niche is too broad, let's say just dogs, you'll totally drown in a sea of massive competition. But if it's too narrow, like three-legged pugs in Ohio, you simply won't have enough people to sell to. You gotta find that sweet spot right in the middle. Moving right along to phase 2, building products and trust. When you're creating products people actually want to buy, originality is absolutely key. But here's the thing, you don't need to be a world-class artist. No way! You can achieve incredible success through really simple layouts, clever typography-driven designs, or just highly targeted illustrations. Actually, a simple text-based joke on a t-shirt will often completely outsell some intricate masterpiece that took weeks to draw. Plus, tapping into seasonal products or offering personalized options, like letting a customer add their own name or a special date, can massively boost how much people value your items. Okay, real talk for a second, because this is absolutely critical for your survival. You must avoid using copyrighted characters, logos, slogans, trademarks, or celebrity images unless you hold the specific rights or licenses. Period. This is a trap so many beginners fall into because they just want a quick win. Don't do it. Intellectual property risks can and literally will shut your store down overnight. They'll freeze your funds and could even ban your IP address from ever opening a store again. Just keep your designs original and legally safe. Once those legally sound original products are ready, they go on your store. And when a customer lands there, your brand identity, your product titles, your descriptions, and your store policies have to immediately answer 3 vital questions. What am I buying? Why should I buy it? And can I trust this seller? Things like high-quality images, crystal-clear pricing, and really responsive customer support aren't just nice-to-haves. They are the literal foundation of consumer trust. If they don't trust you, they simply aren't going to buy from you. All right, phase 3, the math behind the profit. Let's run through a highly realistic, hypothetical scenario. Say the selling price for a standard custom-designed t-shirt on your store is exactly $25. Well, that $25 gets chipped away incredibly fast. From that starting price, you systematically deduct your base product cost that goes to the supplier. Then subtract the platform and payment processing fees. Then any advertising or marketing expenses. Only after all of those deductions do you arrive at your potential profit. And remember, that's before taxes and other big picture business costs. This perfectly highlights a super common beginner trap. Revenue is just the total money coming in, while profit is the actual cash left over. Slashing your prices might seem like a brilliant way to get initial sales, but high revenue means absolutely zero if your margins are paper thin. Seriously, bragging to your friends about hitting $10,000 in revenue is completely meaningless if you spent $9,900 to get there. You have to price for sustainability, not just for a quick, cheap sale. Let's jump into phase 4, getting customers and testing ideas. Before you go dropping serious cash on paid ads, which can absolutely vaporize your budget overnight, by the way, beginners should fiercely leverage organic marketing. It's a massive opportunity. Platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and Pinterest are incredibly powerful because they cost exactly $0 to start. You can post product demos, show the behind the scenes of your design process, or lean into niche-specific storytelling. It's all about providing value and engaging content to draw people in organically, building a real community around your brand. This kind of marketing creates a continuous loop. You test your organic content and different product types. Then you study the customer feedback and the raw data. Next, you ruthlessly cut the weak products from your store. I know, it's hard, but you just have to let them go. Finally, you improve and double down on the clear winners. Successful online businesses almost never get everything right on the very first try. They succeed because they adapt. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is to let data dictate your decisions, not your emotions. Here's a tough love reality check for you. You might spend 10 hours on an intricate design that you personally are obsessed with, only for it to get 0 sales. Meanwhile, a super simple text design that took you 10 minutes might become your all-time bestseller. You got to put your ego aside and let the market tell you what it actually wants to buy. And finally, Phase 5, scaling up and facing reality. This brings us to a major golden rule. Scaling should only happen after you find solid evidence of customer demand. Please do not just upload hundreds of random products on day one hoping something magically sticks. Wait until you have repeat customers, an active email list, or proven winning variations of a design. Only then should you introduce related products, push into new marketing channels, or start exploring international shipping. True growth always has to be justified by data. Here is your balanced reality check. Print on demand is amazing because the pros are huge. Incredibly low inventory risk, easy product testing, a massive product selection, and total location flexibility. But the challenges? They're just as real. You are going to face fierce competition, rising ad costs, annoying shipping delays, and the constant, never-ending need to monitor supplier quality and handle customer service. It's an incredible opportunity, but it is not a free ride. Because of those hurdles, it's vital to remember you don't need a massive, sprawling empire on day one. You just need a few focused things. Forget having hundreds of designs. You need one specific niche, one strong core idea, a few highly tailored, high-quality products, a reliable fulfillment process, and honestly, most importantly, a willingness to learn and adapt from your failures. That right there is the true starter kit. As the source material perfectly sums it up, print on demand is not a magic button for making money online. It just isn't. It is a real, legitimate business model, and like every single real business out there, it demands maturity, resilience, and a deep, relentless focus on creating actual value for a customer. The real goal here isn't to build the biggest store overnight. The goal is to build a brand that people genuinely trust. So I'll leave you with this. Are you going to keep chasing magic money buttons, or are you ready to build what customers actually want? If you're ready to put in the real work, make sure to subscribe to Wealth's Decoded HQ for more in-depth explainers on online business. See you next time.